Hello again, I am Blunty. This isn't the video I was planning to make today. Actually, I just saw Transformers 4 earlier today and I was going to do a review on that and go off on a bit of a rant as well, but then I thought, well, I can't really be bothered. But then, a couple of hours ago, I noticed that the pilot episode for the Flash TV series has leaked online. Someone who received a screener, or someone who knows someone who received a screener, stole it or ripped it or whatever, and popped it up online. For us all to check out. Now, the Flash TV series isn't due to start until probably the late September, October-ish, about the same time that the Arrow seasons usually kick off, because they'll probably go up together. But hell, for all I know, it could have been deliberately leaked by the CW to sort of get an early reaction to it so they can sort of tweak the show just before it is ready to sort of hit the airwaves. I don't know. Sometimes these things happen like that, sort of under the radar, sort of sly, pretend to leak kind of stuff. Not so much with TV shows, really, but it happens a hell of a lot with technology. Anyway, so being a nerd and being a DC fan from way back and being a Flash fan from way back as well. Flash is actually one of my favourite heroes of all time. Batman, Superman, of course, but Flash has the most heart, the most soul, the most passion, the most compassion of any of the major DC heroes as far as I'm concerned, and I love him. And I remember reading the original comic of the death of one of the Flashes. I'm not going to mention which one because maybe you haven't seen that and might spoil something for you. Those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about, know how incredible that story was. Even in the animated series, where they sort of touched on that a little bit, and at the end of the JLU cartoon where Flash had his big moment, that it brought me to my friggin' knees metaphorically. It was amazing. Anyway, so I downloaded it and I watched it, and it is good. I'm happy to say, I'm joyful to report it is good. There is a ton of little Easter eggs and little bits and pieces. Some are very subtle and some are not so subtle. Minor spoil. I'm not going to spoil any of the story for you here, but minor spoilers on some of the Easter eggs. There was a Gorilla Grodd sort of Easter egg sitting there. There was Ferris Airfield in one of the shots as well, and a bunch of I mean, if you know your DC lore, and particularly if you know your Flash lore, there is a whole bunch of stuff sort of woven into that. But most importantly of all, the character of Barry Allen, the Flash, feels spot on. It is, you know, the young, raw Barry Allen just coming into his powers, is innocent and naive and just excited by it all, and sort of compassionate and going out there absolutely naive, just wanting to do right, wanting to fix things, wanting to sort of help repair the damage that has been done by the event which kicks off this whole series and will flow through it. The like Kryptonite was in Smallville, they use that to create a bunch of villains. Now in the Flash TV series, there's a common link between the Flash's own powers and the powers of the sinister people, the evil people, and the rogues gallery and stuff like that. And the one in the pilot is Weather Wizard. They don't ever call him that by name because that's kind of a silly name in a show like this, really. Weather Wizard. I mean, it's a very Silver Age kind of super villain name, but you get the point. It's him anyway. And I know I'm rambling on a bit here because I haven't really prepared anything to say. I'm just sort of off the top of my head, sort of excited and joyful about it, because when Arrow first came out, that first season, it was a good show. It was well put together. The cast was strong, but I really hated the fact that the Green Arrow, or the Vigilante as it was called in the first season, was just a murdering, sociopathic vigilante. That's not the Green Arrow that I know and love, and that's not what I wanted to be in the TV show. In Season 2 and in Season 3, in Season 2 and in Season 3 coming, they've moved him away from that. He's becoming more of the Green Arrow that he should have been in the beginning, and it turned out to be a very interesting story arc to take him over, so, you know, I trust him on that. And this time around, I was a bit worried that they were going to try and twist things too much for the Flash, but it's all there. It feels right. The heart and soul of it feels right. And if you do go ahead and download the pilot, or if you wait until that it comes out officially in whatever format, the little kicker at the end, I'm not going to say anything about it, but if you watched it, you know what I'm talking about, and you know your Flash lore, or DC lore in general, really. It mentions a type of event that DC are known for. It just sat there at the end. You know, the pilot is pretty good as a episode, as an introduction to the character. Pilots are always a bit rough because they have to establish a lot of stuff, so they can't jam in a lot of action, and you know, they have to just start a lot of threads. And shows always get much better, particularly after the first season. Smallville's first season was and the second season was, then it got good, and then it got a bit crap again. And Arrow, the first season was, yeah, all right, I'll give you a go in the second season, and then the second season was like, yes, now we're talking. Slade and everything was awesome. But I'm getting, I think the first season of Flash is going to be the strongest out of those 3 DC CW type shows so far, and I'm excited about it. If you have watched the leaked show, beware of spoilers. You know, mark spoilers if you're going to pop a comment or talk about them generally in terms that people have seen it will know. If you haven't watched it and not planning to watch it until it comes out, because it may very well change by the time it gets to air. They might sort of edit some things around and switch some scenes and put in some scenes and take out some scenes. This stuff kind of happens because this is a pre-screener type thing. And of course it's exciting that we're getting to a point where they're starting to weave shows together as well. There will be interactions between Arrow and the Flash. The Arrow makes an appearance in the pilot episode of the Flash, and you know, of course, if you watch the season 2 of Arrow, Barry Allen was in that pre his Flash powers, just establishing him as a character and sort of making a little backdoor hole for the pilot to sort of feed into and everything like that. It was quite a clever way to go about it, I thought, and it was quite a nice moment when they both met in the pilot episode and everything. But yeah, the point of driving at that, and I'm going to repeat myself again, it feels right. Smallville didn't feel right when it first started, although I ended up enjoying the show. Arrow didn't feel right when it first started. It just didn't. That's not the Queen I know. Oliver Queen, not Crowny. But yeah, this is the Barry that I know and love. It feels right. The soul is right. The heart is right, and that makes me very excited about this show coming up. The suit looks great as well, and that's another concern, because superhero suits from how you see them on the pages or in animations and stuff like that, you know, they look fantastic because they're just drawn that way. But when you bring them into real life, as we've seen on the big screen and the little screen, so far too often they can look either ridiculous, or when they try to make them look, you know, real worldy, they just lose everything that was special about them in the first place. They avoided that in Smallville altogether by just not using the suit at all. In Arrow, they've done a reasonably good job. I like the costumes in Arrow. They're sort of true to the comics, or taking their inspiration directly from the comics, but make them look not silly in the real world. The Flash uniform looks pretty much like it would look if you tore it out of the comics, except no yellow boots, which concerns me. Yellow boots are always kind of important to me for some reason. I don't know, but it looks good. It moves well. It looks fantastic in motion. There are a couple of weird bits of computer animation when he's running and stuff like that. I'm not sure how final those effects are or everything, but there was a few quirky bits. But yeah, the costume looks fantastic, and I'm excited to see if cosplayers out there are going to try and emulate this particular Flash costume. Unfortunately, me being an enormous fat guy, I will never ever be able to cosplay as the Flash. I might do old Batman once, you know, when he's all chunky and shit. The point I was driving at is I like the costume. The costume looks good. It looks proper. It's encouraging to see this kind of attention to detail and quality of costume in the small screen format as opposed to the large screen format. We'll talk about Ben Affleck's Batsuit when we finally get a trailer for that movie. I'm not going to talk about it off a still frame. It's silly. The amount of conjecture that's come out about one single picture of Ben Affleck in that Batsuit, it's ridiculous. Just wait until you see it in motion in a proper trailer. But yep, moving back to Flash. So let me know how you're feeling about the show. If you've seen the thing, drop a comment. Beware of spoilers, like I said. And please don't try to link to various naughty sites where people can download it for themselves. If you're clever enough to know how to download this thing, do it for yourself, but I don't want the link section cluttered up with legally dubious links. I neither condone nor instruct you to illegally download leaked episodes of TV shows, even though I did it and I rather enjoyed doing it and it was totally worth it. But it's naughty. You should know that. And I'm not telling you to do it. Do it. No, don't do it. It's naughty. Anyway, I've had a really shithouse week. That's why there haven't been any videos. Hopefully I'm getting over the hump now and getting my mood and my energy and my drive and my inspiration back. And there will be more videos coming sooner rather than later. Fingers crossed. But meanwhile, thanks for joining me. I am Blunty, as I always am. And I will catch you next time.